who's joining us for another BTS Live. Today we're joined by Rachel Bean from Canine Workshop First. What's your business called, Rachel?
Yeah, Canine First Aid Workshops. Yeah.
Wonderful. So it's going to be a bit of a different discussion about water safety today, and more based on dogs and for dog owners. And as anyone who follows us will know that we have to do a lot of dog search and recovery. So we're going to talk about that. But I think first thing, if Rachel, you want to tell us about who you are and what you do, and introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I'm a qualified veterinary nurse. So I started my career, it does feel like 1,000 years ago now, but 1994 to 96, I was a Dogs Trust assistant kennel manager. So I was there for a couple of years, and then I just wanted to go down the veterinary route really. So yeah, I qualified as a vet nurse down near Manchester. I'm originally from the northeast, so yeah, that brought me down to Manchester. It takes about 3 years to qualify as a vet nurse. And I've, qualified, got on the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons register, and then I've been in veterinary practice ever since, really. I've never left. I'm still in practice. So I do maybe 2, 3 days a week at the moment. So yeah, I'm just touching my 28th, 29th year as a vet nurse. Yeah. So I've seen it all, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
And you do a lot of things abroad, and a lot of different fingers in different pies and things.
Yeah, I do. I started volunteering overseas probably about 14 years ago, and it was just really two things. I got the opportunity, but I just wanted to sort of push my boundaries and put myself out of my comfort zone, really. So, yeah, in that time, I've taught in Thailand. I've been to Thailand about a dozen times, India about 8 times. Just in the last 18 months, I've been teaching in Beijing, Zimbabwe, and Kenya. Um, yeah, all over really. Due to go to Sri Lanka in January, doing some nutrient clinics. The Zimbabwe and the Kenya one was a little bit interesting because I was working with the in Zimbabwe, the anti-rhino poaching dog handlers. So I was teaching them some trauma, how to deal with trauma injuries, because they're more likely to get shot at and stabbed, to be honest, the handlers and the dogs. So it was more trauma based. And then Kenya last summer was working with Action for Cheetahs. So that was again just teaching the dog handlers. These are search dogs that search for cheetah poo, not the actual cheetahs, cheetah poo. So when they find the poo, they indicate like they would if they'd found a firearm or drugs. And then the cheetah poo, or cheetah scat as it's called, is collected and it's sent to Nairobi University for data collection. So it's for conservation really. So they know which cheetah it is, how healthy it is, what it eats, its diet, and that kind of thing. So again, yeah, just teaching them some trauma really. Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Very interesting.
yeah, interesting. And today I've just mentioned it now. I've got a little company. We've got a little office in Media City called Vet on Set. So we if I can't do it, we've got a bit of a bank of vets and vet nurses. We go out and sort of monitor welfare for any animals that are on TV shoots. So at the moment, legally, you only need cover for anything that's classed as advertising that's going on the TV. So today's advert was for British Rail, well, Northern British Rail, I think. Yeah, so it was just monitoring a field full of cows, which is quite an easy job, really. Yeah, it was a bit chilly up on the
Yeah.
hill in Ilkley, but yeah, so it was quite good. Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. And I believe, did you work with? You've done bits with Noel Fitzpatrick, have you?
Yeah, I
In
do.
the
I
past?
do his because he's got quite a big team there. So what I do every 2 years, I update their first aid. Yeah, and yeah, you would think, well, they've got all those vets in that premises, but what they have to do, they have to have somebody external to come in that's unbiased. So I do their rehab team, all their first aid qualifications and refreshers every 2 years. Yeah, so that's the veterinary physios and the veterinary hydrotherapists as well. Yeah. So yeah, water safety. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
always important. Water safety. So talking about water safety, because that's what we are involved in, and what we do is followers who follow us regularly will know that every year we have to do a lot of search and recovery of dogs. A study by Animal Friends Pet Insurance in 2015 found that approximately 388 pets drowned that year, and the approximate number of dogs in the UK that year was around 9.3 million. As of 2025, the studies show that the approximate number of dogs in the UK is around more like 13.5 million now. French bulldogs have become such a popular dog now. And 1 in 3 households they find have at least one dog. So there's a lot of dogs in the UK. In your work, have you come across many drownings for dogs or near drownings?
Yeah, we do. We do see a fair number of near drownings. Definitely. Drownings wise, you probably because at the moment I just work in a small what we call first opinion vets. So probably the emergency out of hours probably see a lot more. But I've definitely seen two this year in and around our practice. Yeah. And actually, I think I did mention it. Actually, me and my dog, my Fox Red Labrador, we're operational team members of North Canine Lost Dog Tracking Team. So I think you guys did a talk for us. I think this year,
Yes.
yeah. I couldn't make it. I don't know where I was, but yeah. So we quite often track dogs to the edge of water. So yeah, definitely coming across this more and more, I would reckon, yeah, because of the increase in dogs and the increase in the popularity of the bull breeds as well, as you mentioned with the Frenchie, and anything that's shaped like that. Definitely.
Yeah. So as we say, the French bulldogs and bulldog breeds in general are the most common dogs that we have to recover, unfortunately. What makes them so susceptible and at risk to drowning compared to some other dogs?
I think it's twofold. I think the main reason is conformation. They're very front end heavy, but they're also muscle mass as well. Muscle is a lot heavier than fat, so if they're nice and fit, then they tend to sink. But the other thing as well is that because they're very front end heavy, there's a lot of weight in the front end. Even if you think of the bigger bull breeds, such as the the XL type, that kind of shape. Um, British Bulldog, and anything like boxer shape as well. Very front end heavy, and they tend to panic. So when they're panicking in the water, they tend to thrash like that, and then that makes them go vertical, and then they sink, and then they take water on board, and then they come back up, thrash, and then sink, and then take water on board, and then just get more and more tired and more water laden, and then they go underneath, and then that's it. But I think yeah, main things conformation and muscle mass ratio to fat, but also these breeds as well. We don't want to kind of label a certain type of owner that they tend to be attributed to, but the average owner probably wouldn't take these type of breeds to swimming lessons. We think, oh, how ridiculous is that, taking these dogs to swimming lessons? But a lot of the drownings are when dogs, because where I am in Saddleworth, we've got lots of, first of all, got lots of reservoirs, but we've also got lots of canals. And the thing with canal is, especially when you go to get towards the end of the canal, you get leaves on it, or that plant that looks like grass, and the dogs run onto it, and then they drown, they sink, and you can't get to them because of the steep edges of the canal. So things like that, yeah, we do. I don't think we think that it's going to happen to us. When I suggest these types of dogs go for swimming lessons, it's poo-pooed. Oh, he's fine. Yeah, but these are the dogs that are a bit silly, and they run chasing ducks on the canal, and plop, in they go, and then they panic. Like I say, they're thrashing and going vertical. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had numerous dogs they've either seen a ball on the surface, or they've seen the reflection, or they've seen grass, and they've gone to step onto it, and then
Yeah.
because it's off a steep bank or deep water, they've gone into water. They've just gone down. Then we've been told similar as you've explained, where they've gone down and then come up, panicking vertical, and then gone down again. So
And
yeah,
it's yeah, I think, and it's not all that some of these breeds can't swim; they just need to be taught how to swim properly. Because we've, through breeding, we've altered their shape so drastically that they're not natural swimmers. Doesn't mean to say they can't, but they can be taught to swim. Now my dog, natural, genetically good swimmer, Fox Red Labrador, born to do it. But even when she'd finished her vaccines, I've got access to a nice pool, dog's hydrotherapy pool. I took her because what I wanted to establish patterns in her brain as well, that when you swim out, you can always swim round and get back to land, because a lot of the drownings happen where dogs, especially the working dogs, your spaniels, your labs, they swim out reservoir usually, following maybe ducks and things. They get out into the middle, get disorientated or tired or cold and can't get back. And it was actually quite interesting with my, when she was 11, 12 weeks old, we went to a pool, which was quite a big dog pool, and teaching her in a little life jacket to swim out, round and back to the ramp. It was actually very interesting. The first time she actually went in the reservoir, very shallow edged reservoir, her swim pattern the first time she went out mirrored exactly the size of the pool and back to dry land. So that's what I wanted to program in her brain, is that, yeah, you can swim out, but you can always get back. And this is what a lot of dogs don't realise, is they get out disorientated, can't see land and drown. Yeah.
yeah. And you mentioned cold there, because a lot of realize with dogs having fur that they can be affected by cold water shock, and all the same issues that we do as humans.
Yeah, definitely. They suffer with hypothermia exactly the same as humans do. I think it's because they're moving, it keeps them warmer a little bit, but then at some point, the cold is going to get them, definitely. And some breeds will suffer more quickly. Even if you've got a working gun dog like a Vizsla or a Pointer, they're going to get cold and wet a lot. Yeah, quicker than a Labrador with a double coat, but still get cold. Yeah, definitely.
I think one reason we want to raise awareness is because a lot of the advice for dogs and dog owners at the moment is dogs are good swimmers. Trust your dog to get out, and personally, I feel that lulls people and dog owners into a false sense of security. And every owner that we've been to help said they didn't realise the risk. They didn't think about dog swimming lessons or the risks of things. That dogs can swim.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. I think it. It's one of those things where people think, oh, how ridiculous. Dogs can naturally swim, but if they could, then we wouldn't have all these incidents or accidents, would we?
Yeah.
They get into difficulty. Yeah, definitely.
We have had a comment actually saying I was very shocked to see that not all dogs can swim and survive in water, especially cold water.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
just shows that we do need to raise more awareness of the potential dangers for risk, because
Mm,
every dog that we've had to go and recover, the owners jumped in after,
yeah.
and that's also putting the owner at risk then.
Yeah, definitely. And we've also had definitely two incidents last year, of dogs falling through the ice as well. That's another one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we were told about one that we got asked if we could go and recover. The local dog team managed to find them with a drain camera in the end, but
Mm.
that dog fell through the ice. A Labrador that fell through the ice and sadly drowned.
Yeah, the
Um,
the one that arose last year was where it's quite a small reservoir, and there was ice on it, and there was kids and adults, which is madness. They were throwing bread onto the ice for the birds, and somebody's walking past with a rescue beagle, and the dog saw the food going on and ran down onto the ice and fell through, and the owner was quite elderly, and yeah, the dog drowned. Yeah, I mean, it's just common, just silly, isn't it? To throw bread onto ice. It's like madness. Yeah.
yeah. So going back to the bulldog breeds, a lot of them have the short nose, the short nose breeds. Does that have an effect on how they can swim and breathe in water?
Yeah, because what they do when they're swimming, especially if they're carrying a toy, the shape of their skull, what we call brachycephalic, that means flat face. They're like big water scoops, so big wide faces, big wide mouths, and they're scooping water up. So yeah, they can suffer with dry drowning, and water inhalation into the lungs. Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah. And they get cold as well because when we've shortened them, we've actually removed the turbinates in the nasal passages, which are like honeycomb bony structures that are designed to warm air up and cool air down in hyperthermia situations. Yeah, so that they do suffer. Yeah, but mostly it's scooping water up as they're swimming. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the questions that we get asked a lot is water inhalation is dangerous for a dog. So we get asked questions such as somebody's playing with the dog in the garden with a hose pipe, and the dog's catching the water and can choke and things. And she said, "Is that dangerous?" She didn't realise it could be dangerous. Is it dangerous? How much water inhalation is dangerous for dogs?
Yeah, droplets. We're not talking about a teacupful or a teaspoonful. I think just a little bit of water in there, because what it does, it causes irritation in the lungs. It stops oxygen exchange, and then that can develop into pneumonia, so which is obviously fatal. And pneumonia won't just develop in the area where the water went. It'll affect the whole of the pulmonary system, and then that can cause fatality. Yeah. So I do see that a lot, especially with like doggy daycare centres, especially in the warmer days. You'll see staff spraying the dogs with a pressurized hose, and for me, that is, if that was my dog, I'd be really annoyed, because potentially, and you don't see the danger straight away, because dry drowning or secondary drowning happens, up to, it can develop up to 72 hours after the event. So sometimes you can't really attribute it to what the daycare or whoever's spraying your dog with a pressurized hose did 2 or 3 days ago. Yeah, so I think yeah, more education on that is definitely needed. It doesn't take very much fluid in the lungs to cause a secondary drowning. Yeah.
Yeah. And when should somebody then look at getting their dog medical care? If is there a sign or symptoms, and if and how soon and what indications should somebody look at getting their dog care for something
Yeah.
like secondary drowning?
Yeah, I think if they know that the dog has submerged or been in water or has been sprayed, then they need to go to the vet straight away, because the sooner you catch it, the better. What the vet will do initially is listen to the lungs through a stethoscope, and they'll hear the crackling in the lungs. So with severe cases, you can hear it from the outside, or just put your ear to the chest. More minor cases, minor symptoms, you can hear it through the stethoscope, and it sounds like somebody crinkling a bag of crisps through the stethoscope. The sooner you catch it, the better. So the dog will be on antibiotics, and often in an oxygen therapy as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a comment from Sarah here saying she's got an bulldog who loves splashing against the waves, but have she hasn't actually seen him swim yet. Should she take him for swimming lessons? As she worries he'll just then swim out and not come back.
Well, that is a catch-22, isn't it? That if he learns to swim, then he might just go out. But I think if he's not going to be in any other areas where there's water, such as canals and things like that, where the high dangers is, because if he plops in a canal, it's very difficult for them to get out. I think if he's just going to the sea, then maybe. I don't want to make that decision for you. I think what you've got to do is weigh up the two, and which is most dangerous. I think as long as he's not kind of drinking the seawater and things like that, because that's the other thing you've got to be aware of at the beach is taking on too much salt water, drinking too much salt water, and getting water poisoning, because that upsets all your salts and sugars, and then the dog can go unconscious. Yeah. So I think that's up to you really to decide what is most dangerous. Yeah. If you're going
But
in
swimming
yeah, if you're
swimming
going
lessons are always good.
yeah, I think so, yeah.
To get a dog used to it. What I'd also suggest at a beach, if you know your dog's going to go swimming, is we always say the same advice for people. Life jackets, you can get dog life jackets. You
Yeah.
can get long leads, which
Long lines, yeah, yeah,
so basically, you. I've tried my best to get my dog to catch a throw line. He will not do it.
yeah,
So a long lead means that you can pull them to safety.
yeah,
And if you do get into an emergency, call 999, RNLI and Coast Guard. RNLI rescue approximately 200 dogs a year out at the coast.
yeah.
So if your dog does get into difficulty, do call 999. Whether that's inland and at coastal waters as well, because fire and rescue will come out for dogs.
Yeah, and the rise in wild swimming as well, and people taking the dogs with them, and paddleboarding as well. I've seen loads of paddleboards out with the dogs on and no life jackets on. Yeah, so that'd be another avenue to push and promote really is a little life jacket. Yeah, because you don't know how far you're going to swim out or paddle out, and you don't know if you fall off. The dog's going to follow you, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Our advice is the same for people, the same for dogs as it is for people. Life jackets, long leads, and it's better to be overcautious than take the risk. How can dogs hold the breath, and how long for?
Yeah, apparently they can hold their breath 5 to 10 seconds, but that is when they choose. I think if the dog is in a situation where it's panicking and drowning, it's not going to think, I'm going to hold my breath. I think there's some breeds that do go underwater. Now, I've got Labradors. Now, my 3 Labradors ago, she used to swim underwater, but it was a choice. And also genetics as well. Genetics drove her to swim underwater. It's always a little bit of a worrying 30 or 40 seconds that she come back up. But obviously she was holding her breath then. But I think if the dog's in a panic situation, I don't think it's going to hold its breath. It's going to be panicking. It's going to be taking water on board in the lungs and swallowing. Yeah. So, although, yes, they can, it's usually through genetics and choice rather than in a drowning situation. Yeah.
Right, very well. We've covered that one. Should every dog owner take a CPR and first aid course?
Well, I'm going to say yes. Definitely. But at the moment, we can't even get the pet industry, pet professionals mandatory. So getting dog owners mandatory. Probably there's going to be a few more things before that. Responsible dog ownership, etc. But for a start would be pet professionals. I teach a lot of dog groomers, doggy daycare staff, veterinary physios, veterinary hydrotherapists, groomers, dog walkers, dog sitters, dog boarders. I put them through their off-call level 3 qualification, but it's not mandatory. Even with pet professionals, it's not mandatory. So it's never going to be mandatory with owners. Just like human first aid, it's not mandatory, is it? It's not. You don't do, but strongly advise it. Yeah, yeah. It'd be great, but yeah.
I advise CPR for people and first aid for everyone. It's a short course and it's a skill that you might never need, but if you need it, then it's better to have it than not have it. But originally, I never knew that there was CPR courses for dogs, and I think a lot of people don't actually realise there are CPR courses for dogs and first
Yeah,
aid stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. What we're trying to do, I mean, probably in this last 4 or 5 years, it's really taken off. But what you've got to be careful of is, like with any industry that's getting popular, or any sort of subject that's getting popular, no regulations on who's teaching it. So always look at the tutor. Um, uh, Always try and go for a veterinary tutor if you can, because obviously we do it for a living. We're qualified in that. So either a vet or a veterinary nurse, or somebody that has been a vet or has been a veterinary nurse, because we follow what's called the Recover guidelines. There's lots of courses out there that teach CPR more like how we teach human CPR. And actually there is a veterinary standard. It's called the Recover guidelines. So I always teach via the Recover guidelines, and a lot of people don't. And for me, it's a little bit of a red flag. That there is guidance. There is a real guide. Like with humans, it's the Resuscitation Council, and the veterinary one is the Recover guidelines. So there is a right and a wrong way, and why not learn it the right way, and then the wrong way? It's just as easy to learn it the correct way than it is to learn the wrong way. There's lots of courses.
especially if you're going to pay your money and spend your time, you may as well learn it the best way you
Yeah,
can.
yeah, of course, yeah. And obviously, not everybody can get to a face-to-face course. I mean, I do lots of face-to-face courses up and down the country, which is a full day, and you can have the option of doing the Ofqual Level 3 qualification, but either you can sit in and do the whole course, same course content, without doing the qualification. But I also have a really good online course as well. So I could probably send you the link if you want to put that out, so people can just do it in their own time at home, section by section. And again, it's very, very accurate. Yeah, which is important, I think. Yeah.
Definitely. When it comes to saving lives, it's definitely important. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So we've had a question from Blank Faces. Is there anything people should look out for when purchasing a life jacket for dogs?
Yeah, I think you don't want anything that's too bulky, because then you want the dog to be able to move properly, and you don't want it where you've got maybe lots of buckles and locking things. Just something that's effective, straightforward, easy to put on, easy to put off, and yeah, just really good quality. That I could probably send you some links, if you wanted to share those for good quality life
Yeah,
jackets. Yeah.
yeah,
I probably would keep it. Sometimes it's tempting to go for cheap and cheerful, isn't it? But you probably want to go either middle of the road, or a nice good quality one. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Something that'll keep your dog afloat, but maybe
Yeah.
not something that your dog's going to overheat if they're out the water as well.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
because if you it's okay if you know your dog's going to go into water and you can put a life jacket on, but if you don't necessarily know your dog's going to go into water, you don't want your dog overheating wearing a life jacket.
Yeah, that's it. And you want something that's the right buoyancy as well. You don't want it where it brings, especially if you've got a smaller dog, you don't want it where it brings a dog too far out the water and then they tip over, and then drown that way. Yeah, yeah, especially with smaller, lighter dogs. Yeah.
Tirath has asked this: is there many sizes for life jackets for dogs?
Yeah, there's plenty of sizes. Yeah, so you probably have to take a little measurement of your dog. Usually, length. It's usually from neck to rump, and then chest, circumference as well. That's usually how they're measured. Yeah,
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 yeah. There's pretty much a size for every dog out there, really, from what I've seen. Yep. So we were talking about your courses. So one of my questions was, does it have to be done in person, face to face, or can it be done online? But you say that you can do a course online.
yeah. I've got a really good, comprehensive online one, and and I could probably organise a discount code for your guys as well. You can do it on your own time. It's free access. There's no time limit, so you can come in and out of it whenever you want. And each section is locked as well, so it does force you to watch and read everything, because I do encourage a lot of my pet professionals to go on there as a refresher every year. So I don't want them just like pressing the button just to get the certificate at the end. No
Yeah.
cheaters, no cheaters allowed allowed. So each lesson, if you like, is locked, and it goes over all different first aid stuff as well, not just the drowning and not just CPR. It goes through everything, and as I come across subjects, I add to it as well. So it's always developing and moving. And there's over 200 multiple choice questions as well. So usually after each section, there's either 5 or 10 multiple choices. It just checks your learning really. So it's quite interactive that way. And I like to teach using real scenarios as well. So there is a good number of real pictures through that. Nothing too gory, but it just does aid learning, I think, from a real situation. So there's no like cartoons and that kind of learning. It's I am quite black and white, and in being a vet professional, it's like, this is how it is, and people do like my teaching for that. I don't sugarcoat it, because I think people are adults, they can learn from real pictures and situations. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We're the same. We won't show anything that's too sensitive or distressing, but we're not going to sugarcoat it. We are doing these talks because we want to reduce the amount of drownings and to make people aware of how many drownings do occur. So we can't sugarcoat that really. It needs to hit home with people, really, doesn't it? So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, same wavelength, same teaching. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So if people wanted an in-face course, do you go all over the UK, or is there somewhere that they can find a course that they could take in
Yeah,
person?
yeah. If they get in contact with me, my website, it's a very simple website. It's just a bit about me and then my dates. So yeah, it's basically www.rachelbean.co.uk, and it's Rachel, Rachel, and Bean as in Mr. Bean. Yeah. So yeah, so it's a straightforward website. A bit about me and my dates are on there as well. And I need to update, and I'll put the link for the online course on there as well, so it's easy to find. Yeah.
Brilliant. And if they were going to Google a course, because obviously you see things on Voucher and Voucher 20 quid and the online, what should they be looking for a to make sure that it's a reliable course and it's going to be effective?
Yeah, basically, you need to look at the tutor's background. Either ideally look for vet professionals, so either a vet nurse or a vet, or at least somebody that has worked in the dog industry for a good time and has experienced these kind of situations, first aid situations. And the other thing to ask is to whether they teach the CPR via the recover guidelines. That is one big clue. And for me, it's a red flag if they do not teach via the recover guidelines, because this is a veterinary standard in CPR. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, the cost of living and everybody at the moment is trying to do. There's not a lot of money to go about at the moment, so we're all trying to do things as cheap as possible. And like I say, I've seen courses for dog CPR at £20 that you can do an online course and to be cost effective for your money. It needs to be able to. If you're going to pay your money and spend your time, it needs to be worthwhile to
Yeah.
actually do the job that's
Yeah, and it
needed.
needs to be beyond basic. Some of these courses I've paid just to look at it, and a 4-year-old could do it. It's like that's not going to prepare dog professional for real situations. It's just, yeah, it's not comprehensive enough. Yeah.
No, that's that. So, how much would a course approximately cost?
My online course is 36, I think, at the moment, but I could probably do for your guys, like you listen, people are watching now, like a £10 discount, something like that. So I'll bring it down quite a lot. My face-to-face course it's a full day, so it's half 9 in the morning till 4:30, 5 o'clock, depends how chatty everybody is. I always give that leeway at the end, because if I say bang on 4:30, everybody starts packing up at 4:30, and I'm like, oh, I've got another 10 minutes yet. So I always say between 4:30 and 5 o'clock finish, so I don't get people shooting off early. And that's £70, and you get a workbook. I don't teach PowerPoint. This is interactive. It's round a table, maximum 16 people usually, and we do it interactively through a workbook. So everybody's got to concentrate. Everybody can chat and chat about their experiences. And remember, it's not just the drowning; it's a full first aid course. And the practicals are CPR. So I've got the CPR dog, and practical bandaging as well. So we use a mix of stuffed dogs and real dogs for bandaging badly cut feet and dog fight injuries, so the ears usually, and they get to take a pulse rate as well, so that's important. They can also, if they were a pet professional, they could also do the same course and gain an off-call level 3 qualification. So this qualification is valid for 3 years. I've written it. It was the first, it's in its 5th year now. It's the first real qualification in canine first aid in the UK. There's a handful of other providers doing it now, but we were the first with iPet Network. And that is, next year it's going to be 160, that, because I've got to pay off-call processing fees out of that as well. But and that's valid for 3 years. Pet professionals usually take that. So your licensed boarders, doggy daycare staff, groomers, and things like that. Yeah, so it's all the same course content. There's no difference in the course content. The extra cost is really for the qualification processing, because it's on the government framework, regulated framework, a real qualification. Yeah.
So would that be like comparable to in-person first aid? You can have a lot of different first aid courses and such and but then you have the first aid at work course, which is instead of a 1 day course, that's a 3 day course, and it's more expensive and it lasts longer and things like that.
Yeah,
So it is that kind
kind of. I mean, we do still do it all in 1 day. So we have got a lot of work to get through, but yeah, it's completed in the same day. Just the processing's a little bit longer. It takes 8 to 12 weeks to process to get your qualification certificate. But yeah, we're just working on a working dog one as well. So that'll be for police dog handlers and things like that. So that's just we're just working on that now. Yeah, that's for next year. Working.
for dog owners,
Yeah,
the online course and the
yeah,
1 day course.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah,
It's always
definitely.
good to be hands-on if you can get there in person and
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
it sat there and get bandaged up every day.
Yeah, that's my Labrador. Yeah. Yeah.
So Tirafa said to say that if his dog drowned, what should he do? Should he call someone? So yes, we do recommend, don't risk yourself for your dog, because unfortunately we do a lot of recoveries where the dog owner has sadly drowned with the dog. So if your dog gets into difficulty, it's difficult to say, and a lot of people, it's instinct to jump in after the dogs and to try and rescue them. But please do try and call the emergency services. They will come out and try and help you. Um, but prevention is key. If we can stop the dogs getting into difficulty, then that is going to be better all round, and it's going to keep both dogs and owners safe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you might have just answered this. I was going to ask: is there a period of time that you say that a course should be retaken for dog first aid?
Yeah, it's every 2 or 3 years is usually a good refresher time, because things do change. Recently we've had 4 minor changes on the recover guidelines CPR. Although minor, it's still a change in the type of compressions that we do with different sizes of dogs. And the other thing that's changed recent, well, not well. is the heat stroke as well. I mean, there's been a bit of a long story, but it's been trying to change since 2018. But it's just recently hit social media 2022 because the message wasn't getting across that you can rapid cool dogs. So yeah, every 2 or 3 years, it's worth redoing it because of these updates and changes. Yeah.
That's it. And we all forget things. We constantly do our first aid course every 2 or 3 years, and we're always practicing ourselves anyway to make sure that we stay up to date with the skills and that we know what we're doing. That because when an emergency does happen, it happens like that, and it's all a panic, and you need to know straight away pretty much what you're doing. So, a refresher course is definitely.
Yeah, because what I'm writing at the moment as well for pet professionals is a CPR drills course. So that can either be done in person or online, but it's going to be quite an interactive online one where they have to submit videos. So if you've got like a grooming parlor with 4 staff, if something happens, then you can't spend 2 minutes panicking about it while the dog's waiting for CPR. So it's just getting people practiced in getting that CPR started within 10 seconds. Yeah. And it takes practice, doesn't it, in rehearsal? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have defibrillators for dogs? Can you use defibrillators on dogs or?
You do have veterinary ones, yes, but what you can't do is use the ones off the village hall because the voltage is different, and also the dog needs to be basically with no hair on it. Yeah, so usually the defibrillators are usually in the veterinary surgery already, and usually in theatre, and it's usually in practices where they do a lot of high risk surgery, sort of heart surgeries and things like that. So it's not defibrillators that we think of that's on the village hall. Yeah, the voltage is different, and also you can only use a defibrillator if the heart is in either well, 2 of the 4 types of phases. So if it's flatlined, you don't use a defibrillator. It's got to be when the heart's kind of doing that, and then it brings electric shock. And you would never know that unless the dog was hooked up to an ECG machine. So we have to know what the heart's doing before we can choose to use a defibrillator. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So no.
Tirapa said, "Do you need to train your dog to swim, or can they swim naturally?" So we have discussed this a little bit. Some dogs can swim naturally, but it's always good to have dogs to get swimming lessons to get used to water and.
And as I said earlier, so sometimes it's well, that's a bit ridiculous, but it's only this last 50 or 60 years we've changed the conformation of dogs. 50 or 60 years ago, we didn't have these dogs that were these weird shapes that are not very good at swimming. So we have to help them. We've caused them to be shaped like this, so we should be doing something to help them in the water and giving them swimming lessons. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. Um, how long is resuscitation possible for? So if your dog gets into difficulty in the water and they can pull it out, and there was a story recently where somebody was able to pull their dog out of the water, no CPR. I think they were just banging basically on the chest and hoping for the best, and thankfully that dog did come round. How long is resuscitation possible for?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would just advise people just to keep on going until you get to a vet. Now, that's always the difficult bit, especially in the middle of nowhere or not close. And I can't fix that. You just got to try and plan ahead and plan the journey to the vets, but just keep on going because there's always a chance that it works. The data with the recover guidelines, and because they can't really give a definitive data because of all the variables, but they say anything between 20 and 40 minutes. So I just keep on going, just keep at it until you get to the vets, where then we can help with advanced life support. Advanced life support is using drugs and equipment, oxygen and ECG and that kind of thing, airway management and what have you. But if you're on the side of a water area, then you'll be doing basic life support. So you're just maintaining airflow and circulation. Yeah, but my advice would just keep on going, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it can be difficult because a lot of dog owners are on their own. So trying to do CPR and first aid whilst trying to get
Yeah,
to
difficult.
a car to get to the vets, which quite often we walk our dogs in areas that aren't near roads and things like that. So it is difficult. But yeah, the like I say, it's do it as long as possible, I suppose, and try and best end. But yeah, it's that's all on the case of if you can get your dog out quickly as well.
Yeah, and like a human, you would sort of hold the dog up at an angle to get all the water out of the lungs first before you go down the CPR route. Empty the lungs of the water, tip them up, so you get all the water out, and then go down your CPR route. Yeah, yeah.
So we've gone through we touched a little bit on the aftercare, the secondary drowning. I think so. If we have like that story where that the and she was banging on the dog's chest, she didn't know CPR, she was banging, and the dog came round, looked groggy, and by the time she got to the car, the dog seemed fine.
Mm.
Is it okay to go home then and class it as a near drowning, and it's okay, it was a lucky escape, or what should people do then?
Definitely go to the vet, because the vet can listen with the stethoscope and see if there's any water in the lungs. Definitely, yeah. And also can advise on whether the dog has drank too much water while in that situation as well. And they'll probably keep them in for 24 hours to monitor. Yeah, yeah. Definitely just don't go home. Definitely go for a vet checkup. Yeah.
It's always good to be safe rather than because there's a lot of aftercare problems that can come from there. So I know the secondary drowning. Is there any other concerns that might come from near drownings?
Yeah, so there could be exhaustion and shock as well, which obviously can be a killer. And also the type of water. I mean, there could have been in water where there's lots of bacteria or stagnant water. Those type of things. So yeah, it's always worth getting a checkup. Yeah.
Blue green algae is something that we
Yeah.
see a lot of at the moment.
Yeah, blue-green algae is definitely a danger. Yeah, I've seen two dogs die of blue-green algae poisoning. Yeah, it's pretty rapid as well. Yeah, yeah.
Will insurance companies cover the care for drownings, well, near drownings and the
Mm.
care?
I mean, insurance is one of those things where there's lots of pitfalls, but obviously at the end of the day, it can also be life saving as well, especially with increasing veterinary costs. But you need to read the small print because it depends whether that situation could have been avoided. That's how it'll get you. It's like, why was a dog off lead near, if they can get out of paying, like any insurance, I'm sure they'll try. But yeah, if it's whether it was an accident or not is probably going to be their criteria. And you need to read the small print. Yeah,
Yeah.
take your
I
time.
suppose even safety precautions such as a life jacket that might even help in the insurance
Yeah,
claim. Then, if the dog was in a life jacket, you might have more chance of the insurance covering the
yeah.
costs of care. Then,
If you've made every effort to prevent it, then it'll definitely go in your favour. Yeah, yeah.
anyway. So what would your recommendations be to help owners keep dogs safe near and in water?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to, even every breed is going to have, its own risks. If you've got a sporting dog like a Labrador or a Spaniel, they just need to smell water and they're in it sometimes. Yeah. So it's keeping away from, you know, dangerous water levels or rivers where there's strong currents and things like that. But again, we've talked about the bull breeds and the conformation. You've got to be extra careful with those. So I think every breed has got a risk. Just keep them on a lead. Keep them on a lead near near water. If they're not confident in the water, or they've got poor conformation, or the other end where there's maybe a gun dog or a sports dog that'll just jump in the water. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like I
Prevention.
say, if you're planning on your dog swimming, Shallow areas for them to be able to get out easily is always a key. We see a lot of the dogs that we have to recover have gone in. They didn't mean to go in, or the owners didn't necessarily think they were going to go in, and they've gone in maybe.
The
So yeah,
weir,
if you
a weir is another one as well, where you get the the smooth water, and then the swirl. The dogs get trapped underneath that. Yeah.
we've had a couple of weird recoveries, unfortunately, because they're as dangerous for dogs as they are for people. It's like a washing machine effect, and it'll keep on pulling you down and down and down. And there's so many things in a weir. We every time we go in a weir, they see bicycles, there's ledges, there's sharp rocks. There's so many dangers in weirs. It's frightening to see how many people and dogs swim in weirs. It's they're not safe place. We don't
No.
like going in them at all.
No.
Um, so yeah, so like I said, we say for our advice for dogs is pretty much the same for people. Life jackets if you can. Instead of throw lines, long leads, because at least you've got a chance to pull your dog to safety. Then um, I think Terry has said, "What if to raise alarm?" I think he means to you if it's lifting its head while trying to swim in deep water. I think. Well, if your dog's lifting its head in deep water and becoming vertical, then it's probably in panic. And if you've got a long lead on it, at least you're able to pull it to the shore. If it's got a life jacket on, at least it's some support then to keep it buoyant.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Again, precaution, isn't it? Yeah, don't get in that situation in the first place. Yeah.
That's it. Prevention is always better than reaction. Like I say, and a lot of people don't want to have their dogs on leads for freedom. But if you have a dog on a long lead, the dog's still got the freedom, but you're able to at least pull it out to safety. Then,
Yeah.
if it does get into difficulty, because like I say, every dog that we've gone and recovered, the owners jumped in and after them, and once they're underwater, they're almost impossible to find. We have to use scuba equipment and underwater equipment, and it can take us time to find the dog underwater. So in a panic situation, when you've jumped in after your dog trying to find a dog underwater, it's almost impossible. So it's best to keep it, prevent as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. And we're coming up to bonfire night and fireworks seasons. What would your advice be for dog owners with dogs that are sensitive to fireworks? Because we've had a number of searches where, unfortunately, the dog's been spooked by fireworks and bolted, and some have gone into water, some have gone missing and been found, some have never been found. What's your advice for owners with dog sensitive?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, it does start at the very beginning. That it's all about educating the dog about these sounds. What tends to happen with breeders is that the breeders don't prepare the dogs for these sounds, and then we get them as puppies, and then we don't do anything, and then suddenly near bonfire night you get all these noises, and then the dog gets spooked, and then that stays with the dogs for life. So again, it's prevention. But if you've got a dog that's in that situation already, obviously we can't rewind. They can be very, very difficult to recover from that. I mean, there's lots of desensitizing programs. You'd have to work with a behaviorist and maybe the vet as well, because some are so bad that they do need some medication to help. But initially, you need to try and give the dog some kind of denning area so it can get away from the sounds. Because what a lot of it is the sounds of the firework, and it's the same with thunder as well. Is that it comes in the room and bounces off all the angles in the room, and then it makes it worse for the dog. So you need to make like a little den, maybe in a corner or under something, where it can avoid all these sound bouncing off. And if you can get ear muffs as well, to block sound out. But also we've got to remember that dogs got such a strong sense of smell that it can even smell changes in atmosphere with thunder, but also the smell of the fireworks, which tells the dog to be scared. So there's lots of different things going on that tell the dog to trigger the dog to be frightened. But you would need the help of a vet for medications and also a behaviourist as well. There's plenty of resources on the internet, you know, to help them for the moment, but to desensitize a dog, potentially it will take a year to 18 months to desensitize. We often get people coming in the vets 2 or 3 days before, oh, I want to do something. You've left it too late for this year again. You know, we had the same conversation with you last year. It's going to take you a year, 18 months to potentially desensitize a dog to anything that it's fearful of, because fear is there to stick. You know, that's why you're fearful, because it's to save you from danger, so it sticks more than positive things. Yeah, so it's a long haul, but yeah, initially is provide the dog with a bolt hole, turn the TVs up so they can't hear it, but still the dogs are so sensitive. Smell and hearing is so sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's being aware on what time to walk your dog, where you might hear fire, and being aware that a firework can go off in daylight. You know, the people have thrown up fireworks all the time. So keeping your dog on a good strong lead and trying to make sure that it can't bolt and escape.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, I think I've asked all of my questions. I think that I had. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, I think we've covered everything, and yeah, if anybody wants to do a online first aid course, or a face-to-face one, yeah, they can just find me on my website, really. Yeah, and maybe at some point I could maybe come out with you guys and see exactly what you do. That would be good. Yeah.
Definitely, we'll be able to arrange something, because we do a lot of training when we're not out on searches, both for training to find missing people and missing dogs. We have people may have seen our dog mannequin Rufus. So we do train with him to be able to locate dogs as well. So we would be able to, yeah, we're pretty close to you. I'm based in Lancashire. Some of us are based in Lancashire, and you're
So yeah.
yeah. So we'll be able to do something like that, and do a bit of a joint collaboration training and show what we do, and perhaps a video where if we recover Rufus, then we can go on to the first aid kind of
Yeah,
side of it.
definitely. Because we've got loads of reservoirs over my way, and we've got one that's really popular called Dovestones Reservoir. It's really busy, and actually two people drowned there last year. I don't know whether you heard that. Two on paddleboards. You're not supposed to paddleboard there, and they've gone out on the paddleboard, and these are fitness instructors, and they drowned. Yeah, so we do the amount of dogs that go around Dovestones. It could be a really good training um, session there, and to educate people that go to Dovestones Reservoir. Yeah.
So we can, and maybe we could do a public thing and invite people just
Yeah.
to give a bit of a show, and mainly show the importance of CPR and first aid, and how to keep a dog safe, because what we don't want is we don't want people to risk their lives having to try and rescue their dogs. We know they will try and rescue their dogs, but what we don't want is what we wanted to do is prevent that as much as possible, and owners risking themselves as well.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And we could maybe do some video footage as well. You know, have my dog swim in and get some video and do some education that way as well. Yeah,
Definitely. Sounds good.
yeah, that's
Wonderful.
good.
So what we'll do is we'll post all the links for Rachel's courses, and contact details for Rachel in the links and on our socials, and you can feel free to contact Rachel. And like I say, it you can do a course online or in person. I would recommend in person, because you can get hands on with the CPR dummies, and you can learn how to wrap up Rachel's dog in bandages and everything. I've seen the pictures; it's wonderful. So patient.
Yeah. She'd rather be running around in the fields and doing scent work, but yeah, yeah, but she does it.
Definitely. I would recommend anyone take a course, as I would recommend anybody takes a person first aid course, because it won't take a lot of your time, it won't cost you a fortune, and you never know when it might be needed, and it could just save a life.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
So I'd like to thank everybody for watching here live, and anyone who catches us on catch up. And if you're happy, Rachel, then we will say good night to everyone, and yeah, we'll send out the information to everyone.
Excellent. Cool.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Rachel, for joining us for your and giving us your insight. And we'll speak soon.
Yeah. Speak to you soon.
Bye. Good night.